I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here we are. My name's Mike, and I've been married to Lisa for about 10 years now. We met in college, got married young, had a couple of kids, 2 boys, Jake and Ethan, and life seemed pretty good on the surface. We had the usual ups and downs, but I always figured we were solid. I trusted her completely. She was the type to act like she was perfect, slyly throwing in her little jabs and bitchy comments but pretending everything was fine. I guess I always believed that if she was cheating, I'd have some kind of instinct or warning, but I never saw it coming. The first signs of trouble started around 6 months ago. Lisa started spending a lot more time at church, more than usual. She was on the volunteer team, working with the youth group and organizing events. I didn't think much of it at first. She's always been religious, and she loved the community thing. But then I noticed she was unusually secretive about her phone and her schedule. She'd hide her screen when I came near, lie about where she was going if I asked. The weirdest thing, though, was how dismissive she became when I brought up her going to church functions. She'd snap back with a bitchy tone, telling me I was being paranoid or that I didn't trust her. One particular evening, I was helping Jake with his homework when Lisa got a call and suddenly hurried out of the house, leaving her phone face down on the kitchen table. That's not like her. She's pretty open about her devices usually. I grabbed the phone when she wasn't looking, just out of curiosity. I didn't expect to find what I did. There were texts, flirty, suggestive texts, mostly with the youth pastor, David. They were talking about meeting up, secrets, missing each other. My stomach sank. I felt cold and numb, like I'd been punched. I didn't even know what to feel first: anger, betrayal, sadness, or just a weird numbness that made everything else fade out. I kept scrolling, and that's when I saw the pictures. Not just words, actual photos. Lisa and David together in what looked like a hotel room. Her half-naked, him shirtless, both of them looking like they were about to do something that was so clearly not just church friend stuff. It hit me like a freight train. All those nights she'd been at meetings or helping at youth camp, she was with him. There's no way she could deny it. The pictures were recent, taken just a few weeks ago. I felt my jaw tight and my fists clenched, and I knew I couldn't just pretend I hadn't seen this. I had to confront her. I had to face her with everything I found. I remember just sitting there on the couch for a long time, staring at her phone, trying to process what I'd uncovered. My hands were shaking. I kept thinking about all the times she dismissed me, called me paranoid, told me I was overreacting. Meanwhile, she was sneaking around behind my back with the guy who was supposed to be just a counselor, a mentor to our son. It was so damn twisted, I couldn't make sense of it. How could she lie so effortlessly, act like she was the perfect wife when behind my back she was screwing around with our church's youth pastor? It was so sick, so wrong. I felt like I was in a bad movie. I was pissed off, but I was also hurt. Deep down, I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't just pretend I didn't see what I saw. The worst part, she's always been bitchy, always had that quick temper, and now I saw her spin even more lies, deny everything, call me crazy, anything to dismiss the truth. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't ready for how bad it would get. That night, I sat there, staring at her phone and wondering what the hell I was supposed to do next. The next day, I decided I couldn't keep quiet anymore. The images, the texts, they haunted me. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept going over everything, trying to find a way to approach her without losing my mind. When I finally saw her come into the living room, I knew I had to face her. She looked annoyed, like I was bothering her with some petty issue, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Lisa, we need to talk," I started, my voice a little shakier than I wanted. She looked at me with that typical bitchy smirk, like she already knew I was about to mess things up for her. She sat down, crossing her arms. "What's this about?" she snapped. That's when I pulled out her phone and placed it on the table between us. "Who is David?" I asked straight out. Her eyes flicked to the device, and I could see her moment of panic, like she was caught off guard just for a second. Then she scoffed, rolling her eyes, and said, "What are you talking about? That's just some stupid church thing. You're overreacting. I don't know what you're implying." I looked at her, furious. "Don't lie to me. I saw the text, the photos. How long has this been going on? How many nights have you been sneaking off to see him? And don't even try to tell me it's just church stuff. You're messing around with our youth pastor, Lisa, our son's counselor. How could you do this to me, to us? She leaned back, sneering. Oh, please, you're just jealous, you're insecure. Maybe I spend time with David because I like talking to someone who actually listens, not some clueless husband who doesn't understand me. You're making a big deal out of nothing. Maybe I'm allowed to have friends, aren't I? That's when I lost it. I've been holding this all in, trying to stay calm, but her bullshit pushed me over the edge. Friends, really? You've been lying and sneaking around behind my back and you call it friendship. Do you even hear yourself? You're cheating on me with someone who's supposed to be helping our kid grow up right. How could you be so fucking selfish? She rolled her eyes again, scoffing like I was the crazy one. God, you're such a controlling asshole. Maybe I did have sex with him, maybe I didn't. Who cares? It's none of your business what I do outside this house. I have a life, you know. Her voice dripped with contempt, like she was trying to make me feel small, like she was the victim here. I felt my blood boiling. The betrayal hit me hard, more than just the betrayal of her cheating, more than the images, more than the lies. It was the way she dismissed it, like her actions didn't matter. Like I was just some obstacle she had to get past. But I wasn't going to just roll over. I told her I'd seen enough and that I was done, that I needed time to think. That day was the worst. I spent hours just sitting in the garage, staring at nothing, trying to breathe. I felt like the ground was shifting beneath me, like I'd been hit hard in the chest every time I remembered the pictures, her smirking, her lies. I didn't even cry, I just felt numb. I kept thinking about all the years I'd trusted her, all the moments I thought were real, and how she'd thrown it all away for some stupid affair. I kept telling myself I should be angry, no, furious, and I was. But underneath all that, there was an aching sadness. I'd lost the woman I thought I knew, someone who used to be kind and caring, now just a liar and a cheat. It made me question everything. I wondered if I'd missed the signs, if I'd just been too blind or too stupid to see how rotten she really was. That night, I knew I couldn't keep pretending things were okay. I had to decide what to do next, whether to fight for her, to try to save what was left, or to walk away from this nightmare entirely. But one thing was clear. I wasn't going to let her keep messing with my head and my life. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and anger. I couldn't concentrate on anything else. Every time I looked at her, I saw the betrayal, the sneering face, the lies, the pictures burned into my mind. I knew I had to confront her again, but I also knew I needed to be strategic. I couldn't just lose it and blow everything up without thinking. Still, the urge to yell, to break something, was overwhelming. One afternoon, I found her in the kitchen, pretending to be busy as if nothing had happened. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself, and then I said, "Lisa, we need to talk, for real this time." She looked at me with that intentionally dismissive look, like I was just some inconvenience she had to deal with. She leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. "What now?" she snapped, a little too casually. I knew she was trying to play it cool, but I wasn't in the mood for her bullshit. I pulled out the phone I'd secretly kept from the night I found the texts and the photos. I slid it across the table. "This is what I found," I told her, voice low but steady. "All the messages, all the pictures, you see this, you and David together. How long has this been going on? Weeks? Months? And don't tell me it's just a church thing, you're having sex with him, aren't you?" She looked at the phone, her eyes narrowing. She scoffed again, like I was a joke. "Oh, please, that's none of your business. Maybe I did have sex with him, maybe I didn't. What do you care? You're just a jealous little man who can't handle that his wife has a life outside of you." I clenched my fists. You're lying right to my face. You're cheating on me with our kid's counselor. How many nights have you spent with him? Answer me." She threw her hands up, acting all indignant. "You're crazy. You think I'm just going to sit here and take this? You're paranoid, controlling, and honestly, I don't even know why I married you in the first place." "I do. Need your approval or your stupid rules. I do what I want." That was the moment I snapped. I pushed back from the table, feeling my chest tight. "You're disgusting," I said. "You've been lying to me, cheating on me, sneaking off behind my back. And for what? Some affair with the guy who's supposed to be helping our son grow up. That's just fucking sick. I don't know what I ever saw in you." Her face twisted into a sneer. "Oh, grow a fucking backbone, Mike. You're not some hero here. You're just a guy who's too afraid or too weak to admit his wife doesn't give a damn about him. So go ahead, keep pretending. But I'm done with this charade. I don't owe you an explanation, and I sure as hell don't owe you my loyalty anymore." I stared at her, feeling my world collapse around me. I had always thought I knew her, that she was the one person I could trust with everything. Turns out I was wrong. She had been lying from the start, hiding this affair, sneaking around like some secret agent. I'd trusted her with my life, my family, my heart, only to find she was screwing someone else behind my back. I wanted to hurt her back, to make her see what she'd done to me. But I also knew that was just giving her what she wanted: attention, control. So I told her I needed space, that I was done talking for now. I didn't want to scream at her anymore. I just wanted to get out of the house, away from her lies, from the betrayal. I left the kitchen, went outside, and sat on the porch, staring at nothing. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept racing, flipping through every moment, every sign I missed. I felt so stupid for not seeing it earlier. I trusted her blindly, and now I was paying the price. The pain was deep, worse than I expected, and I realized I was on my own in this. No one ever tells you how crushing betrayal can be until it hits you directly. I kept wondering how she could be so cold, so bitchy and dismissive, and still have the nerve to lie like it was nothing. As I sat there, I made a silent vow. I wasn't going to let her win. I'd find a way to get through this, even if it meant tearing everything apart first. I knew I'd have to decide whether to fight for her or walk away for good. But one thing was clear: this wasn't just a simple mistake. It was a full-blown betrayal, and it would change everything. The next few days were a roller coaster I wouldn't wish on anyone. I kept replaying everything, trying to piece together what I missed, what I should have seen, what I could have done differently. But mostly, I felt numb. The kind of numb that makes everything around you seem distant, like you're watching your life from outside your body. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and honestly, I hated every moment I spent in the house. Every corner reminded me of her lies, her betrayal, her bitchy attitude that now felt like a slap in the face every time I saw it. I knew I needed a plan, a way to confront her again, or maybe just get her to admit everything outright. I couldn't keep living like this, pretending I was fine when I was anything but. So I started gathering evidence: screenshots, her social media activity, texts I hadn't seen before. I needed proof, solid proof, that I could use if this thing went nuclear. The more I found, the angrier I got. I'd trusted her, loved her, built a life with her, and she'd thrown it all away with some stupid affair. And for what? A few secret nights with David, the church's youth pastor, who was supposed to be just counseling our son. It was disgusting, and I was furious. One night I decided I'd had enough. I was going to confront her face to face and demand some kind of honesty. I wanted her to look me in the eyes and tell me what she'd been doing behind my back. I wanted to hear her lie again, maybe catch her in the act. I waited until she was in the shower, then I snuck into her phone and took a screenshot of the latest message exchange. I then saved everything in a separate folder, just in case I needed it. I felt like I was preparing for some kind of war. When she came out, I called her into the living room. She looked annoyed, like I was bothering her again, but I didn't care. I put the phone on the table in front of her and said, "This is what I've found. All the texts, the pictures, I know what's been going on." Her face immediately went pale, then she threw up her hands and scoffed. "Wow, you're really nuts, aren't you? You've been spying on me, that's pathetic." Her voice was dripping with contempt, like she thought I was the worst person alive. But I wasn't done. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "Don't lie, I know everything. The affair with David, the secret nights, the lies. You think I'm stupid, you think I don't know what you're doing." Her lips curled into that bitchy sneer again. "Oh please, you're just jealous, you're insecure. Maybe I like him because he listens, unlike you. You're boring, controlling, and honestly, I don't even care anymore. I don't have to stay here and let you accuse me of everything." That was the moment I snapped. I slammed my hand down on the table. "You're disgusting," I said. "You're cheating on me with our son's counselor. How many times? How many nights have you been sneaking around? You're a liar, a cheat, and you're so selfish that you don't even care how much you're hurting everyone." She crossed her arms again, staring at me with that cold, bitchy look. "You think you're some kind of victim," she said. "You're just a controlling little man who can't handle the fact that his wife actually has a life. Well, guess what? I don't care what you think. I'm done pretending to be the perfect wife. Maybe I'll just leave. Maybe I'll take the kids and go somewhere where I don't have to listen to your bullshit anymore." That hit me hard. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. This wasn't just about the affair anymore. It was about her complete disregard for me, for our family. She was dismissing everything, acting like she'd done nothing wrong. I looked at her, feeling the pain hit my chest so hard I thought I might cry, but I held myself together just barely. I told her I needed space, that I was done talking for now. I got up and left the room, feeling like I'd just been punched in the gut. I went outside and sat on the porch, staring at the dark sky. All I could think about was what I'd lost: my wife, my family, the trust that had held us together. It was like walking through a fog of betrayal and anger, not knowing what the future held anymore. That night I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do next. Part of me wanted to fight for her, to save what was left of our marriage. But deep down, I knew she didn't care. She'd already made her choice. The only thing I could do was figure out how to pick up the pieces of my shattered life and move forward. I'd never felt so betrayed, so hurt, and so alone. It's like I'd been living with a lie all these years, and now I was finally seeing her for who she really was. The days that followed were the hardest I've ever experienced. I kept replaying everything: her words, her sneers, the betrayal I uncovered, over and over in my head. Sometimes I'd catch myself staring at her, trying to read her expression, but she was always good at hiding it. She kept acting like nothing had happened, like she was still the same person I'd loved for years. But I knew better. I saw the way she looked at me now, cold, dismissive, with that bitchy smirk that had become her default. I started planning my next move. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, wondering if she'd ever admit the truth, if she'd ever apologize or show some remorse. Deep down, I also knew that even if she did, it wouldn't undo what had already been done. But I needed closure, something to make sense of this chaos. So I gathered all the evidence I had: screenshots, her social media activity, messages, even some recordings I secretly made of her dismissive comments. I wanted to be prepared, no matter what she threw at me. One afternoon, I finally decided I'd confront her again, but differently this time. Not to argue or accuse, but to make her face the reality of what she'd done. I called her into the living room, handed her the phone with all the evidence displayed on screen, and looked her straight in the eyes. "You want to lie, deny, and dismiss everything. Fine, but I have everything here. All your lies, all your secrets. You can keep pretending that this is just some church affair, but I know the truth. I know you've been screwing around with David, and I'm done pretending I don't know." Her reaction was predictable. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and tried to brush it off. "Oh, stop it. You're acting like some crazy person. You're just jealous because I don't want to be married to a guy who's so insecure he can't handle a little independence." I felt my blood boil. "You're full of shit," I spat. "You've been fucking our kid's counselor, Lisa. How stupid do you think I am? How long did you think you could get away with this? It's over. I want a divorce. I want out of this nightmare you've created." Her face twisted into that bitchy sneer again, like she was enjoying humiliating me. "Fine," she snapped. "If that's what you want, go ahead. I've already moved on. You're just too blind to see it. Anyway, I don't care what you say. This marriage is dead. I'll pack my stuff and leave tonight." That's when I saw the true contempt in her eyes. It was like she was gloating, like she'd already won. I realized then that she didn't care about me, about our family, about the damage she'd done. She just wanted to be free, to do whatever the hell she wanted without consequences. I'd never felt so betrayed, so angry. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I held it in. Instead, I told her to pack her shit, that I'd be taking the kids and leaving soon. That night, I packed a bag, feeling like I was walking away from everything I'd ever known. The house, her, the life we'd built, gone. As I looked around, I felt an overwhelming sense of loss, but also a strange sense of relief. I knew I couldn't stay and pretend she was just going to come clean and fix things. She made her choice, and I'd made mine. I decided I'd leave before she could twist it into some kind of drama. The next morning, I woke up early, and while she was still sleeping, I gently woke the boys and told them we were leaving for a bit. I didn't want to scare them, but I wanted them to understand that their dad was taking a stand. I made sure to tell her I'd be back to get the rest of my stuff and to settle everything legally. I didn't want to fight her. I just wanted out with my dignity still intact. As I drove away from that house, feeling a mixture of heartbreak and relief, I kept thinking about how this would change my life forever. The betrayal cut deep, but I also knew I couldn't let her destroy me. I'd rebuild somehow. The pain was raw, the wounds still fresh, but I was determined not to let her win. I'd lost my wife, but I hadn't lost myself yet. And that, I told myself, was the real victory. Whatever happened next, I was done with her lies. I was done being the fool. It was time to start healing, even if that meant facing a future full of uncertainty. In the days that followed, everything felt like a blur. I managed to get the house officially settled in my name, and I started the process of filing for divorce. It was brutal: legal battles, custody arrangements, explaining to the kids why we were splitting up. But in the midst of all that chaos, I realized something important. I was finally free. Free from her bitchy lies, her manipulations, and the betrayal that had haunted me for months. I spent a lot of nights lying awake, replaying everything: her sneers, her lies, the way she dismissed my feelings like I was nothing. But I also felt a strange sense of relief, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I'd trusted her blindly, and yes, it hurt like hell to find out she'd been sneaking around with David, our son's counselor. But I also knew that I deserved better, that my worth wasn't tied to someone who could betray me so easily. Looking back, I've learned a lot from this nightmare. Trust is fragile, and sometimes the people you love most can hurt you the deepest. But I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, stronger than her bitchy attitude, her lies, her manipulations. I've come to accept that sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself from getting crushed further. It's not easy, and it'll leave scars, but eventually those scars fade and life moves on. I've started rebuilding, dating again, reconnecting with friends, and most importantly, focusing on my boys. They needed me to be strong, to be their dad. I tell myself every day that I'm better off without her, that she was never the person I thought she was. It's not about revenge anymore. It's about reclaiming my life and making sure my boys see that even in the worst times, you can survive and come out stronger. To anyone out there who's going through something similar, trust me, I get it. It's devastating, humiliating, and painful as hell. But don't let it define you. Take control, gather your strength, and do what you need to do to get out of the darkness. You deserve honesty, respect, and someone who actually cares about you. Don't settle for the fake smiles, the lies, or the bitchy attitude. Walk away, even if it feels impossible at first. Because in the end, you'll realize that true happiness comes from loving yourself enough to leave behind what's hurting you. I'm not perfect, and I've got a long road ahead. But I know now that I'm capable of surviving even the worst betrayal. And someday, I might even find someone who deserves my trust again. For now, I'm focusing on healing, on raising my boys, and on making sure I never get blindsided like this again. The pain will fade, I know that, and the lessons I've learned will stay with me forever.